So I know on this video it says 1 day ago. Yeah, I'm pre-recording this the night before, which is why this technically was a video from 2 days ago, where we talked about Detroit Red Wings free agent to be Patrick Kane and the smoke saying that he could be heading over to the New York Rangers. Now, fortunately for us, in this video we talked about a source that really wasn't verified or anything, but we legitimately do have some other things to go over when it comes to Kane and the Rangers that come from a lot more reliable sources, quote-unquote. So, let's go out there and look at this tweet from Red Wings Prospects that goes over some comments made by Chris Johnston of... I was about to say Sportsnet. No, he's not on Sportsnet anymore. He's on The Athletic. This was a video podcast from the Chris Johnston show on SDPN. Can Edmonton be stopped? From 2 days ago. Yeah. Spoiler alert, the Oilers were stopped. But Chris Johnston on this episode of the Chris Johnston Show goes out there and talks about Patrick Kane and brings up a few points that were highlighted in this tweet. Number 1, Steve Yzerman still conversing with Patrick Kane's agent, and they're still talking. So, not that bad, right? Not too much of a disaster just yet. But, with this in mind, Johnston said he still wouldn't be surprised if Patrick Kane gets to free agency. And when it comes to other teams going out there and talking to Kane, they all know what to expect now. Patrick Kane is no longer this unicorn of a guy. How good is he going to be? How healthy is he going to be? Can he recover from that surgery? Will he just be a bum? Will he actually be productive? All those questions don't really exist anymore because he showed to everybody that he actually does have what it takes. 47 points, 50 games played with the Red Wings, a huge step up points per game wise from the past season he had, 45 points in 54 games with the Hawks, 12 points, 19 games with the Rangers. He had 92 points the year before that, so still fantastic hockey player in Patrick Kane. But when it came to the health issues, there was so much uncertainty that only a select few number of teams actually wanted to commit to Kane right away. The Wings happened to be one of them, and the rest is history. He had signed, he played with DeBrincat, he was good, etc., etc. So, with Chris Johnston saying that, yeah, teams know what to expect now, that makes total sense. Like, now they recognize that he still is that good, and there is potential for him to be a top-line producing player, too. Kane also thinks that he'll take it to another level next year, which honestly I don't necessarily disagree with either. I mean, sure, he's 35 years old. You don't normally see players get better from 34 to 35, but contextually speaking, talking about injuries, talking about the recovery from the surgery and everything, Patty Kane was always the exception to the rule. This was the career-defining nature of him as a smaller guy who broke out onto the NHL scene, was drafted first overall in 07 as a 5'10 dude, and eventually had a stellar NHL career on top of that, winning multiple Stanley Cups and scoring a whole bunch of important goals. This guy has defied the rules every single year. And you could even say there are some taxi law rules that he violated as well. But other than that, Patrick Kane is in a spot where, after rebounding from a surgery like this, one that held him back, that caused him to drop off from 92 points to the 57 points he had had the next year, after a surgery where he came back and he was good enough to have 47 points in 50 games, this was without proper off-season training for an extended period of time. He took so long to sign with Detroit because he was practicing on his own. This was because he was held off the ice after that surgery. Now, he's got a full length's worth of time in the off-season to get everything back up to speed, make sure all the gears are still turning, oiling everything up so that this machine is as well tuned as it's ever been. So for Patrick Kane, I'm not saying that 92 points is an attainable goal like it was 2 seasons ago, but if he goes out there and gets an 80-point season, I don't necessarily think that's too surprising, no matter the team that Kane is on. Speaking of which, Kane is looking for something in the 3-year deal. He could end up with 2, so 35, 36, 37 years old maybe. That's potentially the territory we could see a Kane contract go on for in terms of his own age. There is smoke with the New York Rangers, and it seems likely that he's going to test free agency. So Chris Johnston going out there and talking about the same thing we had talked about in our video using the out-of-nowhere NHL rumor source. But Chris Johnston going out there and saying it, okay, I believe it a lot more now. Smoke with the New York Rangers. He certainly would be like one of the cheaper acquisitions the Rangers could get. I mean, there are conversations you could have about a whole bunch of guys available in free agency. I mean, Sam Reinhart just became a free agent, or he's becoming a free agent in a little bit. He had just won the Stanley Cup. There are a bunch of other top-tier scorers that could become free agents as well. Steven Stamkos potentially. Patrick Kane seems like one of the only affordable guys, quote-unquote, that could be in this marketplace. Sure, he had a point-per-game season this previous year, but he's not going to be able to demand regular point-per-game caliber money because he is just 35 years old. He's so old, and he is coming off of that surgery, plus the fact that he's not going to want to sign long-term. If it's 2 years long, then okay, Patrick Kane could probably sign for $6 million, and I think any team would be happy to get that on. Either way, this will be linked in the description if you want to go ahead and listen to the Chris Johnston show wherein he talks about this. But what I also wanted to do was refer to a tweet made by Phil Kotcher. This is a quote from Frank Saravelli from, I believe this was earlier in yesterday's DFO rundown. I'm pretty sure it is. Don't quote me on that. The quote that we care about, though, is right here. Kotcher tweeted this out. It's a Saravelli quote from the show. There was a feeling, even when Kane was getting close to signing this past season, that there was some unfinished business for him. The Rangers were one of the teams who were in the mix for Kane. They just couldn't offer him as much money as Detroit. I would be very comfortable signing Kane to a 3-year by $5 million deal. I think he wants a little bit of security and term. It's not that he's hurting for money. I think he wants to settle down with his family and get a place somewhere he knows he's going to be for a little bit. Ah, okay, so it is the DFO Rundown show. Great. I am not crazy. 43 minutes, this will also be in the description if you want to listen to that. But Saravelli's going out there talking about unfinished business. That is an interesting way to go about and describe it. Is there business here with the Rangers and Kane that needs to be settled? Finish the story, as one great Cody Rhodes had just accomplished earlier this year. Who knows? Patrick Kane's going to come back. The Undertaker's going to come back. John Cena, The Rock, and everybody in between. That could set up for a fantastic main event on Broadway. But either way, if you're a New York Rangers fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about these ideas talked about by Saravelli and Chris Johnston. How there is some extra smoke reportedly when it comes to Patrick Kane and your team, and whether or not you feel there is some unfinished business between Kane and the New York Rangers. If you're a Detroit Red Wings fan, what are your thoughts about this? Honestly, if I had to, get my hands on a crystal ball and see the future, if Kane does sign with New York, I'm not really all too surprised. I mean, while everybody knew that he enjoyed his time with the Wings and he liked the team, he liked the culture, he liked the players, the fact is, if Kane really is just wanting to win right away, that's his main goal. Plain and simple, the Red Wings aren't helping him as much in that respect compared to the Rangers. They're better. They're a more well-oiled team. They're more further along in their development path. Not saying the Red Wings can't get there. It's just, in 2024, 2025, while Kane is still 35 years old, he is probably a lot more positioned to win a championship again with New York versus Detroit. So it's not surprising for me, plus the fact that he kind of wants a little bit of a longer-term deal just so him and his family can help settle in. That makes sense. I mean, hockey players usually are family guys, right? They don't want to go place to place to place when they've got other people involved. But either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this Patrick Kane New York Rangers update. Saravelli and Johnston had ourselves the scoops in this one. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.